Hey, guys, Sunday night again, Outback at Petrone's, man. I am loving this. This is amazing. I love it. And what is the date today, guys? Is it the 13th?
13th.
July 13th. So let's get this straight, because we had a listener or a caller or a troller that was saying the date was wrong on the podcast. Well, Ben, can you explain how we do this?
Right now, for us, it is July 13th.
On Sunday, but then Griff,
It takes usually like a week for us to actually get the podcast out with production stuff, audio stuff.
yeah, so we try to get it out Mondays. So what would that be? Ooh. Hey, Griff, what do we got?
Calendar app.
Calendar app, I gotta pull it up real quick. We would be...
Griff, you gotta go closer to the mic so we hear you.
So
There it is.
It will be the 21st is when this
The
episode will be out.
21st for all the haters out there that said, hey,
We have both dates now.
Yeah. The podcast was good, but you said the wrong date. So it's July 13th, and we got the circadian rhythm bugs out there, don't we, Ben? Out there? Yeah.
Yeah, the circadian.
The circadian rhythm bugs are out there.
We'll try and leave those in for everyone who thinks that we're not really outside.
And know what's really
this is a
fun
green
about
screen.
know what's fun about this? We show up at 5:30. What time do we get on?
It is 6:59 p.m.
Yes, we ate. We had some beverages. It's fun right now. I wanted to do this. I honestly, guys, I love this, and I'm so glad Griff committed. You're always the first one to commit, and I'm like, come on, Griff, let's go, let's go, and because it's not fun without Griff. Let's just put it that way.
It's not. And yeah, we make a night out of it. It's, just show up and you got to get into the cockpit. The driver has to sit in the car before you go.
Do you still feel powerful behind the mic? I
feel a little less powerful today
Yeah.
because the reality of everyone's feedback is weighing on me.
Yeah. So I want to get into that. So last week or 2 weeks ago, we talked about choices and options, right? And it was dead set about choices and options. And I thought we needed like a part 2 and the follow up and more of a.
I think Griff and I completely stole the last one, and we didn't talk about what you wanted to talk about.
No.
Today we're going to talk about what you wanted.
No. I love what we did. I mean, it was beautiful. I like how Griff was just throwing curveballs with Inky Johnson in there, and I was like, okay, where do I go with this? I'm like, okay, but it's just like choices and options, and then I mountain bike this week, and I listened to the podcast, and I get so pumped with the podcast because the two of you guys. By the way, it's amazing having you guys on here because you've been with me, from the start. You have been, and then Griff has been with me longer than the start of a podcast. So you got one guy that's doing the documentary on me that knows my whole story, and then you got a guy in here that's like super smart, and he's out at left field or right field, whatever he holds his political values on, like where he is. But he brings such a intellectual level to a person of me with a 2.36 GPA coming out of
Ben's
high
like
school.
our Plato or Aristotle or Socrates.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool with the choices and options, and then what the feedback I've gotten, and then we go into boundaries and ultimatums because that's what we were talking about. So when just to give you guys, listeners and viewers out there, when I'm mountain biking and listen to the podcast, I probably stop and call both individuals of Griff and Ben and go, hey, what do you think about this? Or what we meant on this? And so I think this is feeding my soul, and it's been so consumed in my life for the last, 34 years of me doing the business, and then people coming to me with their businesses and their contracts, and then my own contracts of self-contracts. It's been so much of choices and options, and it really is choices and options. So I want to open it up with, talk to some people that, I value their opinion, and they're like, I love the choices and options, but doesn't somebody have to be healthy enough to make that choice before they could make the choice or the option? And that stumped me. And of course it was like, whoa, because it's like when you give the choice to people, are they healthy? Are they put together? Is their mindset? Are they physically fit? Because everybody's like, well, what does physically fit have to do with it? Well, it has to do a lot with like, where they are in life. Are they disciplined? Are they disciplined with business, money, contract negotiations? Can they make these choices? Can they see themselves for what they really are and not what they want to be? I don't know, you guys.
I mean, it seems like there would be a correlation between being fit or healthy and making good decisions. I think that goes back to sort of like midway through, we were talking about how decisions stack or choices stack. And so you might make a decision at one point which removes different choices later on, if that makes sense. But I mean, health, I don't know. I guess my issue with that word is like there's stuff that's out of your control that's not based on some decision you're making, like habits, like being, not drinking or whatever. I don't know. Like there's health issues that just happen because they happen.
So, okay, I just thought of something. A general at war, well, he makes the decisions. They're not putting it down to a non-com or one rank guy. So it has to be somebody that has, I don't know, made
someone who outlines your choices.
But something like that might contradict to the point that you're making. Because you look at, like, Ulysses Grant during the Civil War, he was the biggest drunk, alcoholic general ever. He would have been, if you're talking about decision making, approaching and going into making bad decisions. A lot of those guys that you think that, like, oh, they're mentally, physically there, they're also struggling with their vices. Does that impact their decision making? I mean, you look at the historical aspect to it, it's just like, I think there's a situational aspect that comes with everything. Because it's also like, if I'm a crack addict and I'm on the streets, I'm also going to have to make a decision if I'm going to get clean or not. Am I in the best place ever to make it? Usually most people are in the most broken place to make a decision. So, I don't know. Part of that, I was like, I probably shouldn't have maybe said some of those things, but it's also like, it goes into what you were saying about, like, am I healthy? Does it dictate whether I can make good decisions? It's like, well, I mean, does it not depend on what the situation is? If I'm at rock bottom and I need to get out of something, then, like, I'm going to probably be at my worst state of self because I have to make a change or else it's going to get worse for me compared to, like, I get what you're saying though. If, like, I'm making a financial decision and I'm in a really bad place physically, mentally, and how is that going to move forward with me?
Interesting. So you don't have to, okay, so
if I'm going to start a business and I'm 300 pounds and I'm an alcoholic or I'm a drug abuser, I probably shouldn't be starting a business. But it's also like,
I don't know. I mean, I think that's, like, I could see a situation where that's not the case, because maybe that's, like, the thing that saves you.
Well,
it just depends.
Like I said, the one listener that listened to it was like, I love the Choices and Options podcast, but shouldn't a person be healthy first before they make a choice?
I don't know, because every great, like, I'm a huge history guy, and, like, every great world, like, every person in the past 100 years that we say are, like, great decision makers, all, if you would have known probably their personal situation, then you would have been like, they probably aren't capable or in the right spot to do it. Even look at Winston Churchill. Talk about drunkenness and then his diet and being overweight and then constantly smoking cigars and where he was with all things, like, physically,
also,
mentally.
What I would say is some of these historical people is like, that's probably the average guy.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly.
It's not like they were any more or less
All right, so
drunk or on
physically
cigars
fit
than
compared to
the next
mentally
guy.
competent are two different things, you would say.
Because it's like, well, Winston Churchill fought the Boas in South Africa, and, like, he has the general war experience to know and dictate how to proceed with war strategy. But then it's just like, if you were taking from, like, where he was physically and mentally at that time during World War II, you look at any of his biopics, his documentaries, and reading stuff on him, he got more criticism than about anybody about where he was.
Okay, so then maybe this person was talking mentally and spiritually there. And maybe that's more of, I mean, because like you talked about, I know a lot of drunks that are mentally sharp. You know, they could come up with some damn good decisions and give good choices and opinions.
So was this person's point, like, it would be unfair to give that person a choice? Like, they
Yes.
shouldn't have a choice because it's hurting them?
They're not going to make the right choice is what came across.
Well,
my
I would
phone.
say, like, if you're in the context of, like, I don't know, let's go back to our original one. So it's a lease, and so it's a business owner or an entrepreneur. If you bail that person out, then they're not going to learn whatever they needed to learn to succeed the next time. Is the flip side of that. Like, so yeah, you're right. They weren't in a fit state to make the right decision, which was maybe they shouldn't sign a lease or
mentally
whatever.
fit.
But you're robbing that person of the opportunity to grow.
Well,
You're saying, no, you shouldn't buy that BMW right now. You should buy a Toyota Camry. Well, what happens when you're not there the next time they go to the Porsche dealership? You know what I mean?
they have to figure it out. And that's the problem with what I see is like we talked about is they make the wrong choices, but then they want the bailouts. Or the wrong choice is the wrong choice. You know what I'm saying? So we go into, so let's keep moving this along. So we go into choices and options, and then we talked about, I liked yours on the last podcast of like, well, if I'm going to eat the fried chicken, it's going to stack and compound, and the choices are going to get worse. And they usually do. I mean, you put anything into, lowering your self-awareness, it usually going to make the wrong choices. But what I'm talking about are more life choices, not like a concert or fried chicken or meals.
A bigger, okay.
It has such a bigger consequence.
Well, so when you brought up
life.
the like military thing, the like where they essentially remove your choices most of the time, your choice is made for you. This is your schedule. This is what you're going to eat. This is what you're going to, this is where you're going to live or whatever if you're on a ship.
But you chose that. You had a choice not to go sign up.
Yeah.
So we could start from, ground.
But that's what you meant, right? Is
right.
like, how do you navigate when it's appropriate to give someone a set of choices, and then how does that like look?
Well, and that's what you're looking. That's a great segue into boundaries and ultimatums. Is sometimes you don't give a choice. Like we were talking about before. Of hey, if you don't straighten up, I'm out. That's what we were discussing last podcast of, oh, you're talking boundaries. No, I was talking choices of, hey, I really want to be with you. I want to do this with you, vacations with you. And hey, we're on the other side of life. We got 15 years optimal of fun, but I really love you. And we could even get, say our vows again and go to the whole other level. But I really can't do that unless you bring me this package and this option. And then that's the choice compared to a boundary of, hey, you either got to stop doing this or I'm out.
Like if you tailor that back to what you guys were saying about the military, let's just say, like you have a general, right? You sign that contract. You have to abide by whatever that general dictates what he's going to do. Like you have no other choice. If you're talking about I know you guys are talking more of like in the grand scheme of things, if you're signing up and doing for that contract and it's just like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm going off on a tangent here, but like for me, the way I view it is just like there's a double-edged sword that comes with that. Maybe I'm having a hard time registering what you guys are wanting to cover on this, and I'm off, but it's like. Because we talked about like from a soldier's perspective at first and being like, all right, I have to abide and I have to like command of where I'm going to live, where I might get stationed, where I'm going to be put. If I have to go fight, I have to go fight. But it's also like if that general is going to go and put me somewhere and place me somewhere and I'm going to have to give my life in that specific area, even though I know the outcome that's going to come from it is the end of my life, then that's the choice.
Okay, so let me reframe it a different way so that it's like less of a permanent or like a giving up freedom or like choices kind of way. Flip the authority figure. The person bringing the agreement is like, if I go to my boss and say, I want a raise and I only am going to be available to you 9 to 5 from now on. That's a set of choices, right? So they can say, yeah, I'll abide by that, or it's like, okay, I'm going to go find another employer. Is that closer to what you're talking about, where it's like,
I think
it's wide open?
It is wide open, but I agree with both. Here's the thing is he had a choice. Okay, say a guy signs up in the military at 18 years of age. He has a choice. He walks himself down there and signs the papers. After that, he gives up all his choices. So he has a choice, then he gives up all his choices. There's no choices because
Yeah, you've made a choice that
you've
has taken
signed
a
the
lot of other
contract.
choices out.
We could go back to business. We could go back to college sports. Is you've signed a scholarship. Here's your choice. Now those are much more free to mess now.
And that's what's also interesting because you were talking about it last week, being like, oh, if I sign this contract and this letter, then I have to abide by that. But it's just like you look at the scope of college athletics now. It's like you actually don't. Like,
Oh, I would
Ten-
so here I would say that a lot of people who are like 18 and the kind of like dollar figures we're talking about in sports, it's unreal. So like, yeah, they probably arguably are not equipped to make that choice.
Bingo.
Or they're not equipped to understand what that choice is.
Right.
Obviously, they're equipped to make it. I mean, they're probably 18 or whatever.
Right.
So as a society, you have to put the line somewhere. That's it. Like they can sign and they're gonna go do whatever.
And that's what those people were talking about. Is that person healthy enough to make that choice? Healthy could be age. Healthy could be mind.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a
that's
lot of
just one those
athletes
things.
now that they're having to go through that, and they're doing everything. I see so many of you guys you train that are in college, and they do everything that they think that should be right, and then it's also like now, but it doesn't work for them, and now they're having to go find other programs because it's not like they're doing the work, they're committed to the process and wanting to do everything they can, and then they're ultimately being told to leave because the person that they made that agreement with and signed that intent with has shifted on that end.
Yeah. Well, now you're talking a pendulum. So you're talking about the coach. Where the kid thought he made the right choice, and the coach makes a different choice, and now the choice looks wrong. Right. So that's
Because 20 years ago, it's like if I sign my letter of intent, I'm here for 4 years, and if I'm not, then it's just to get out of this and to me to try to go to another place and try to do this. It's going to be a whirlwind. Compared to now, it's like, hey, we got 5 other guys coming at your space. You have like multiple guys just this off season that they've been pretty much sat down with me like, you got to go, which they've honored their side of the commitment, but then on the other side of the commitment, they're not honoring it.
right.
I know we're trying to be more black and white, but it's like,
Right.
if I'm watching some of your guys and they're doing everything, I know how hard they work and how committed they are to what they want to do, and then they're being sat down the opposite end of that, and they're going, well, it's not enough. Even though they're being told, they're doing everything that they were told to do.
Yes, but I think we're in a phase. I agree with everything you're saying, but where are we? 2025. So there's no maturation phase of nobody wants to improve and take 2 or 3 years. It's we're going to bring this guy in, and then that guy, they don't even know the potential that guy has because they didn't work
It's
with him.
cutthroat. I think there's like this thing in American like corporate world, especially where they pride themselves on that. It's like because navigating the kinds of agreements that we're talking about is a skill that's wholly separate from hard skills like how fast you can run or how much you can lift or how good you are at calculus or engineering or something. I mean,
Yeah, and I think that
you're saying it's black and white, but I think that's like maybe a certain framework that has worked for you and assisted you, but it's not everybody thinks of it that way. You know what I mean? They're thinking about all these permutations of these agreements and stuff that's unforeseen. Like, okay, you commit when you're 15 years old. I mean, in today's world with NIL, who knows if that coach is even going to be there? Because it goes back to the cutthroat thing. It's perform or you're out.
Well, yeah, there's no commitment. So now it's each year. They evaluate each year instead of going, and they're missing out on good people that could be there for 4 years and have the maturation phase and pop as a junior or senior. And it's like, well, we didn't see it as a freshman. And I think that comes with the choices that they're not getting. And it goes back to one of the topics we talked about in the kitchen that I wanted to get is talking at both sides of your ass. And I think I'm fed up with that of talking at both sides of your ass. And I see that in the gym and I see that on the streets and I see that everywhere I go. It's not committed.
Give me an example of talking out of both sides.
I have so many examples. 'Cause I deal
Try
with
and go back a while.
so many people through the.
Not trying to call anyone out.
No, I don't think it's calling both sides out. It's like if it's a relationship and it's like, yeah, I'm really happy, but then they're telling me stuff that is the opposite of that. And it's like, well, which one
Yeah.
is it? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, which one are you happy with? Or I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. And okay, that's cool. But you're saying that, and it goes back to Proverbs 1:8, actions over words, and Maya Angelou of when they show you who they are, believe them. It's people say one thing and do another, and I think that's where Brian White was saying the wood gym makes you live your truth. And I think I texted
Yeah.
you guys today. Is like I think that's good patronism is live your truth, and so many people have a problem living the truth and being black and white, and I think they're like when I find most people that talk at both sides of their ass are trying to please the person and not the guy above. And it's like I want to make sure you like me. I want to make sure I'm doing. We talked about that on the kitchen counter, Griff. Is I want to make sure that what. Oh wait, you didn't fall for that, and I'm not that person anyway. Does that explain that to me? Like what we were talking about in the kitchen, because we have good
Oh,
chop
just
centers.
about like how someone like when they approach you in a manner of like it's probably actually their true authentic self.
One facts.
They're coming up to you and doing that, and then when you reject that or you don't connect with that, then they're coming up to you being like, "Oh, that actually isn't me. That's not who I am. I would never do something like that." Where it's just like accepting the fact that like I presented to you who I actually am, and it didn't get reciprocated, and now I'm trying to put on something that I think that you actually want me to be.
Right.
And so now you don't know. You have no idea which one's the real one. Kind of.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's where talking.
So that's
at
why you
both
go
sides
back
of
to the
us.
action, because it's like, well, that's a more concrete.
Right. You kept showing me that. You know, you could tell me this, but you kept showing me that. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Do you find that there's people like that want to tell you what is happening, like with their training and not listening to, like, they come to you, they ask you for advice, but then when you give it, it's like, oh, well, actually, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm doing this thing with my ankle when I take
Yes.
off. And you're like, no, I didn't see that.
Right.
They're like, ah, it's probably the ankle thing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we could bring it back to that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that make sense? So
Well, it's like, I guess when you were talking earlier, it makes me just think of like, well, probably their words are, they are trying to make sure that you know what their idealized self is, but you have already seen and noted who they really are, I guess. So I think they're both valuable. Like, it does matter what someone wants to be, but maybe it matters a little more what they're actually being.
What's interesting because like the wood gym, when people come in, I think they get comfortable with being that person. I don't know. I guess
well, that's what Brian
like
White
the
said.
facade-
Whitey
yeah.
said, like, when you walk in the wood gym, that's who they want to be.
Yeah.
That's who their true self is, who they are in the wood gym. But after they leave that's the next 23 hours. They're not that self in there. And I've seen everything.
I think the environment that you've created makes people, whether they like it or not, like they're portraying their true authentic self.
Right. And that's what Whitey said is like, that's the only time they feel their true authentic self in there. And then they go back to whatever it is, whatever it is that has to be, whatever mask they have to put on.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I definitely, whenever I'm in the gym, I feel like that as well. Like, no matter how insecure or how bad I think I am at life or where I'm at, like, it's like my approach when I walk in there, and it's just like, it's not like any other environment where I'm like, oh, I can put on something if I had to. Compared to there, it's just like, it's not going to last. Like, you will reveal who you actually are.
Yes.
Because most people go into the office, so you're talking like a work environment, and it's just like, who they are in the office is completely separate to who they are in their personal life.
Yeah, people like LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, is that who you actually are and who you really get betrayed? And then it's just like, I have friends tell me all the time about these events that like when they're going to these corporate events and like they'll have like a big Christmas party and they're like, I did not see that happening from that person. Where like you talk about like the overconsumption or like, and then start saying things and betraying things. And it's just like, they're like, it was just like, you would have thought there was a completely separate person.
But that goes back to what the person was saying. It was like they were saying that you're almost not accountable for the choice. Like they're not. able to make it. I would say that someone that is that inebriated, I mean, obviously, yes, in a corporate environment, that's like gonna be like that is a reflection of you, but that doesn't mean that that's like I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to get at is it's okay to not always be your ideal self. Like you're growing towards that, you know.
Wow. Yeah.
I think most environments don't encourage that though. Like they were keep your work life, your personal life, your personal life, and it's just like don't really mix the two.
Yeah, and I'm studying some podcasts right now that are amazing with some doctors, and they're like, so many people die at 80 and have never revealed their true self. And I think, that's all through Apostle Paul is like, let your mask down so people could see your true self. And I think people are afraid of that, but once they do it, they're like, and you're still accepted, and I think that's
Yeah.
that's the like, okay, that's cool. Like we all do that. Like that's cool.
Is that what you were getting at, like with the agreement? Like, okay, it's all out in the open now. Like,
Yeah, I think
and
that's
so you were saying that the freedom comes in. I mean, you didn't use these words, but it's almost like being honest about, like, this is what, like you put into language, like this is what our plan is.
Yeah, I think I think when you put the choice contract in front of somebody, it's the truth will set you free, and I think it'll not expose, maybe reveal, or give everybody a, oh man, I gave that choice to that person. They didn't go for the money, they didn't go for the accolades, they went for like, I'm out. Like I was like, wow, that's who that person really is, and it's kind of like admirable of going, you just showed me who you were with that choice. And I think that's where I think it takes big balls to put choices on a contract or choices to talk to somebody.
Are you pro prenup for a wedding?
No.
No. Okay.
Yeah, no. Nah. I mean, because money.
So there's
yeah,
certain
that's not-
situations that demand like that kind of social navigation, but not always.
Not always. No, I think choices I think would probably go more to. I think choices. We talked lease agreements. We got in gyms, but I
Yeah.
wanted to bring it back to more choices in relationships.
Yeah.
Hey Griff, if you're gonna come over here, the choice is you're gonna have a cocktail or you can't come over. No, seriously, because we've had people over here drink water, and it's not fun. Okay, no, seriously, it's not. It's not like I don't want you over here drinking water.
Yeah.
Okay, so your choice is not to come, but I'm gonna have. I love boxing, so I'm gonna have a hell of a boxing party, September 13th. Okay, Canelo and Crawford. Got it. If you're coming here, you're signing a contract. You're gonna have fun.
That's why I go back to you're talking about like being in the right health for making a choice, and that's why I was asking about. Like I made the examples of the generals where it's just like, let's just say like I'm at my lowest point in my life, like, and I am just like I'm not physically fit, like I feel like I lack purpose in where I'm at. Making the right decision would be to come over here to feel camaraderie, feel community, even if I feel like I'm not who I'm supposed to be or where I'm supposed to be, but it's to be here because it's just like I need to take that next step and be around people that will help me get into where I diagnose that and figure that. So that's where I'm like, I think you're talking about to making decision making, like being unhealthy or healthy. It's just like, I feel like it's very circumstantial. If you're talking about starting a business, I understand where you're coming from about not being healthy. It's like, yeah, but it's like,
yeah, but choices they alleviate any bad blood
Contrast.
between anybody. Right. So if I said, hey, I'm having a boxing party September 13th, everybody has to have fun. Okay. And what does that mean? Well, I don't want anybody drinking water or Sprites. We're going to have wine. Okay. It's your choice. I'm just hypothetically saying something.
Yeah.
It's your choice, so you choose. Okay. I guess I'm not coming. Okay, cool. That's also your choice because I don't want Debbie Downer sitting at the kitchen table drinking water. When everybody's like, "Oh my God, you see that right hook in the seventh? Oh my God, in the round, whatever it is," or your choice of, "Hey, listen, I need some questions answered before this relationship could go any further." Okay, it's your choice to answer them, but if you don't choose that to answer these, I guess we can't go any further because I have some unanswered questions that haven't been answered, and it's your choice. And if that person wants to be in the relationship, they'd sit down with you and go, "What are the questions?" Or, "That's silly. I'm not going to do that." Just like I ask people, like, "Who are you?" And some people laugh and go, "That's silly. I'm not going to do that." "Oh, you're insecure. Oh, you don't know who you are. Oh, you don't want to be vulnerable. Oh, you don't want to go deep. You don't want to dig in that belly and see where it's at. Oh, okay. Keep doing what you're doing then."
Yeah. So that's like there's examples of people that didn't engage with you on a conversation that you were interested in that's like not small talk, not just surface level.
What do you mean?
Well, like, a question like that is sort of a bid for like intimacy, or it's just like a real conversation. It's not like, oh yeah, the weather was crazy today.
Yeah, I want to get to the next level with all my people. And it's like, okay, how do we
Okay.
get to the next level? Like,
And so the like contracts model is a way to be
yes.
constructive.
Yeah, so then you can peel off from somebody, walk away from somebody and go, "Hey, I gave him a choice." So it's more black and white. It's not like, "Well, so and so he didn't say that or he didn't yeah, no, that was on him." No, it's not
Yeah.
on either of us, but I'm giving you the choice so you can walk away
I
from
think
it or embrace
you're
it.
starting to make sense. So it's like, do you find that like if stuff is ill defined, then it's like anxiety inducing because of that grayness and like not knowing where you stand, maybe?
100. And that comes back from my childhood
Yeah.
is like I'm a black and white guy.
Like, say for your party thing, like I could see a situation where like a nervous person, I might even be like this sometimes. You haven't told me what time to come over or whatever.
Right.
And so instead of just like saying, this is not a contract, but just texting you and talking and being a normal person and saying, "Hey, Charlie, what time?" It's someone who's just sitting there and waiting in that gray area and it's making them nervous. I know that's super reductionist, but like, is that kind of the feeling that you're talking about?
Again, I mean, I don't play with gray. And so when I give choices, it takes away the gray. It hey, if you want to be my friend, every other Friday night we have to go out to eat.
Yeah. That's a hardcore contract, but yeah.
Oh, you're worth my friendship. I want to do that with you. Cool, let's go. Unless we have like some crazy excuse, but like at least you entertain it and go, "Man, I like that. Yeah, I want to dabble with that choice. I don't know how much I could commit to it and vice versa, but I like the topic and I agree with you on the choice." That's
Yeah.
what I'm getting at more.
Okay,
Does
so
that make
like
sense?
almost mixing that with like, I guess sort of a business thing or a sports thing, like commitments. Like if I want to start a band, that's not just, oh, we're gonna have fun and play music or whatever. It's like you do that every week or multiple times a week
Right. So
without fail
you could put
over other
you
things.
could put it on a piece of paper. It's like, "Hey, to join this band, we work on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 7 to 9. And we need 6 weeks of your commitment. You could choose to sign it or not, but it's your choice."
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I think that there's like not everyone is gonna take it as seriously maybe as you do, but I guess that says something
Well, yeah,
about
I
those
mean,
people.
then your scope gets smaller. But when you have the people that sign up like that, then you have the people that are like you, and you want your mate to be like that, business partners to be like that, teammates to be like that, coaches to be like that. I, I would think it would share the same vision or the same morals and
You're
values.
outlining your expectations.
If both people are on the same, like, go back to my contract for business. It's like, here's my 6-page contract. So when people are like, again, they go back and go, wow, you're too expensive. I was like, how? You checked the
No.
box.
I do think that like it makes things so much clearer. And like when you have your combine guys being like, it's this, 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 and this, and you do this, and then you're able to go look back on it and being like, were you able to check all these boxes? I laid it out exactly how it should be to get there. It's like, well, no, I missed that one, that one, that one, that one. It's like, all right, well, it's pretty simple then. It's like,
I'm not going to name any names, but speaking of the combine thing, so you had a contract set up for that you always stuck with, and you had a training regimen that you always stuck with, and that lasted a certain amount of time. And I know I was talking to you one time. The one time you broke that, and someone came back with a counter offer and said, no, let's do it this way. You said, okay. That's when the person got hurt.
Yes. Yes, 100.
So I don't know.
No, you're right.
I don't know what that says, but it's like, it seems relevant.
well, it's like sticking to your guns and your nature. It's like, and that's what it's like. I'm starting to get more black and white, but I would say the majority of my life, I make things more complicated than they should be. And I do, like, that's where I'm like, I feel like I've changed a lot in the past couple of years where I'm like, I agree with you. Like, when you do make things black and white, it's just like, this is it. Did you do these things? Did you train this many days a week? Did you abide by that? And let's go look back in 6 weeks. And it's just like, all right, well, if you abided and you did all those things and you fell into that system and you can check off every single one of those things, then it works.
I think there's a sweet spot. Like, you can go too far, but I don't know. When we were talking about growth, I mean, you think about like training new people. Like, if you were going to hire a trainer, you know, I imagine that you would have a very strict set of standards and rules for how that person was supposed to behave and interact with your clients.
It's so true though. Like,
But if you get so strict with it that they don't understand the culture of the gym and why those rules exist, and they're just blindly following these rules, that's not. It's like, you know, anyone could have Gordon Ramsay's recipe for a steak, but that doesn't mean they can cook it like him. You know what I mean? And so I guess that's where I'm saying there's a sweet spot. It can't just be, here's what we're gonna do, and you follow it and that's it. There's some other ineffable thing that I think, like when I said not everyone's gonna follow it as strictly as you or take it as seriously as you, you have to have that for a contract to work. Because some people would go finance a car or whatever. Well, it's gonna get repoed because they had no intention of paying for it.
but like from an accountability standpoint from you, if they don't go run the time that they don't want to run, you can go back and go, hey, you didn't do these things. Right, exactly laid out what I was supposed to go do. Where it's like it's a security for you being like, hey, we can go back and look at this thing once it's all said and done, but these are the things I've laid out for you, and if you don't mark all and do all of these things, then when we go back and look at these things and you don't do it, then it's just like, I'm off the hook because I've laid it out for you. Now,
Because both people signed it.
exactly, because people could come to you, go, man, like, I ran 2/10 slower than I should have. It's just like, well, I said it was a 6-week program and you came in with 3 weeks left. I told you what was going to happen if you didn't come in at the right time. Also, you didn't train these days and you went and did that. And it's like, I made it specific, like, you have to just train with me. You can't go do other workouts. You can't go see other people. That's the reason that your hamstring got hurt. And just like, there's a security aspect that comes from you to where, like, if they come back later on, they'll go, man, like, it's this and this. Because I know you've always said, like, people have come back to you trying to play the blame game. Then, like, you look back on it being like, you didn't abide by these things. Where it's just like, it's the same thing for someone that, like, maybe a landlord or, like, own a business or employee being like, you had to meet these metrics and I laid them out for you. You didn't abide by these things. It's just like, you can't come to me and blame them because I laid out for you what you had to do in order for it to work.
I mean, okay, so
You know?
just as sort of a reinforcement, we had an episode. I can't remember what the topic really was, but a big thing we kept hitting was means and measures. And so I think part of that too was like people had goals or whatever. I don't know if it was like a weight loss thing. Um, but that's not like a contract, but I mean, that was you sort of trying to implement a system like that of like, a community that was holding everyone accountable to try and grow together. Um, and so I don't think it was anything weird, but you wanted everyone on the scale because it's like, if we don't measure, how are you going to know, really?
Yeah, it's like tribal. Everybody's if you're not the athlete running 40s, everybody in there, I want means and measures of body mass and body fat and body muscle, and see where that goes. And I think that community holds everybody to have that choice. And I think you'll be amazed of how many people don't want to measure body fat, and that's their choice. But they're giving you their answer when they don't want to measure their body fat.
Well, it's like putting it out. It's like, oh, I got to get it by this date. And it's like, what sucks is like the repercussions that come from not doing it are 10 times worse than you going all out and maybe falling short. And I being in my 20s and having to done stuff, I've missed out on many of opportunities because that dialogue in your head starts walking through and you start talking to yourself and trying to make these things and excuses, and it's just like, holy shit, like I missed the train and I'm the only one I'm the only one to blame for that. And it's just like, you learn from those mistakes, you grow from them, and you got to move on. But it's also like, I feel like that's where like that self accountability comes into play, where it's just like, it's my decisions. Like you laid it out. Like if I'm going to go train at Sam's or I'm going to go do that stuff and I'm not doing enough, I'm not doing well, and I'm losing, it's like, that's on me. You can learn from it though.
You can. So we could circle all the way back to where we were in the kitchen having the discussion about your the last episode where you're talking about you can't control the outcome. Elaborate on that a little, because some of my listeners and callers and viewers.
Well, I know they
like,
said something about like with my family name and expectations, and then like how to follow through on that, being like, oh, well, if he's not attached to the outcome to any of it, then he's lowering the expectation. It's like, that's not what I meant at all. And that's when we were in the kitchen.
So you didn't lower your standard.
I didn't lower my standards. Like
It's more about not letting that hold space mentally.
No,
You're
it's
more
like
focused on what you can do.
It's like I did everything. Like you can do everything that you can do, but you also got to realize, like, I put out the analogy. It's just like there's 32 NFL teams, and only one of those teams every year is going to win a Super Bowl. You're talking about there's over 12 or 1,300 players in the NFL, and every single one of them has the same goal in mind. It's like to win a Super Bowl. So every single one of those teams that's going to be their expectation and goal.
Especially training camp
You go and do
starting.
any training camp, it's like, what's going to be on that whiteboard? Super Bowl, division championship. It's like, that's what you're striving for. And I'm not saying like you don't lower, you keep those expectations. And the thing is though, it's just like, you also have to accept being like, probability wise, I'm not going to win a Super Bowl. Like
injuries come up, quarterback,
but the thing
star
is, you
receiver.
strive to win that. You strive to go as far as you can. You strive to go and do that. But also you have to detach being like, you know what? I might actually make it to the Super Bowl, and like it might not happen.
Okay,
and it's just like, but you strive, you go for it. You don't lower your expectations. You don't lower the standards. You go for it. But you also realize the fact that like it may not go in your favor, but you live to another day and you fight. You keep going.
I don't know the stats exactly, but I was watching a Formula One race the other day where this guy got a podium. He's been in Formula One for like decades, probably like years and years and years, never got a podium. And then he started, I think, this most recent race in 19th. There's 20 cars. He was second to last, and he got third. And so it's like, if he wasn't, I don't know, maybe people have an issue with the word detach, but it's like, if he put his whole like value of himself and his belief in his driving abilities on his past performance, there's no way he would have stuck it out.
It's like that one day,
finally get that podium.
One day when we were mountain biking over at Concord, and you were like, they had that race series going on, And I was like, I was wearing shorts. I didn't even have water or anything. I hadn't been training anything for it. But it's like, I'm going to go into that race. And my goal is to win that division. Even if I haven't been training for it, haven't been doing anything for it, if I'm going to go out and do it, I'm going to go freaking try to win the thing. But also, I have to come to the realization, no matter how hard I try and no matter what I go through, I'm going to win. And another great example of that, what's that documentary? It's called like Incarnus. It's about the guy that like, his goal is he takes all those PEDs to be like, I wonder if like, if I take these PEDs, how fast and how far I can come along. So he uses that
Does
entire...
he train too?
Yeah, he trains.
Oh.
His whole documentary is like...
Incubus? What was it?
Yeah, Incarnus, something like that.
Yeah.
But it's like, he's like, I'm going to do PEDs. I'm going to like do it illegally because it's like, my goal is I'm going to win this race because I'll do anything to go through and do it. He trains his ass off for a whole year. Nonstop, does everything that he does. The next year, he actually finishes worse than he did the year before.
Why
without the PEDs. Why is that? It's like, you don't, like, you can't, that's why I was more talking about, like, having the detachment to an outcome. Like, I mean, you can even talk about it, not even in sports, like in someone's dating life. It's like, I could really like a girl. Like, I think that she could be the one to do that stuff. And like, you know, I put myself out there and like, I ask her to go on a date, want to do that stuff, and she just shoots me down. I've done everything in my power that I know to try to create that connection. But also, I have to come to the realization that, like, it may not go in my favor. Like, she may not like me back. And I think, like, that's where it comes to. And I know, like, whoever the person was that said that, it's like, they had a great point, but it's like, I'm not saying you settle for mediocrity and being like, oh, it is what it is. It's like, no, my goal is this, and I'm going to do everything in my power to get that. But you also have to come to the realization that you may not get there. And it's just like, that's why the majority of guys that played in the NFL, they may not have won a Super Bowl, but I mean, you can't disrespect them because they laid everything out there and to try to do everything that they can to get there.
Yeah, Griffin, I think you missed one point when you were talking about that mountain bike race. Is Griff didn't mention, because he's really heightened it on this topic. You know, he's trying to defend his position, which is great. But we went out there to mountain bike. Okay, let me help you with this. We went out there just to mountain bike like I do every night. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 4 o'clock. And I was like, oh shit, Griff, they got a race going on. Okay. My next sentence was, you should do it. And he was like, give me a helmet. So that also says something, is he didn't know the outcome. I was just impressed that he said that he was like, all right, cool. It's Concord. It's not like the Colorado Open Championships and, you know, the Mojave Desert, whatever. But I didn't do it. You know, I was like, I ain't doing it. You know, I came out here just to ride, but you should do it. And I think Griff is sometimes just, I wouldn't say goofy, but doesn't think about the outcome. In my opinion, I wasn't going, go out there and beat them all. I would just like, go do the race. Like, don't waste your time coming out here. You drove a lot farther than me to come ride with me. I'm fine turning back and going home. I'm not racing, but you go ahead and race on this one.
Yeah.
And he did it. I don't think he's ever done a mountain bike race. And he had like what he has on now, a shirt and gym shorts and a helmet. And
But once I made that commitment and paid that race fee, it was like, I'm going to finish this race and do everything in my power to do it the best that I can. And it's like, I don't know. I think when you asked me that earlier, did I get fired up? No, but it's also like, I don't think most people have ever heard that, where it's like, anything that I do, like,
I guess
there's been projects, I mean, 2 years ago, where it's like, I did a year and a half of work for something. I don't get the project. I don't get to get it put it out, and someone else does, and then they win an Emmy.
Oh yeah, somebody stopped me today and talked about the podcast I had you on when you talked about the Asheville floods.
Oh yeah.
And they were so impressed with that. They're like, that guy's a savage. So you're going to get the yin and the yang. Yeah. You know, you're going to get the, you know.
Well, it's like, I understand where they're coming from because they know my family's background.
Okay, so here's a question I have to ask you. And Ben, help me with this. So what I agree with the people that were saying this, so you go, I'm going to run a marathon and I don't know the outcome. Okay, well, if you look at marathon results, and I guess the best of the world are what, 2:11? You could check that, but
Yeah.
Say 230.
Say it's that. Yeah.
Say 230 is, and you're going in at. You've hit a PR of 231. Well, you could go, hey, I'm going to the race, but I don't know the outcome. But you also know the race going, I think I got a shot to win this thing.
Well, it's
Because
like
I'm
I have a goal
numbers.
in my metrics of like I've been training and doing these mock trials when I've been training for it, and then like these are my
You
numbers.
know what's
right?
reasonable.
This is what it's like. It's being reasonable. It's like these are the realistic expectations of like, hey, I'm gonna do this marathon. I don't know, in like 2 hours and 36 minutes because every single time I do it, I'm falling within this 5-minute gap.
Right.
Doesn't mean that you can't do a couple minutes better. I'm not saying that. What I'm
And
saying
it doesn't mean you break a foot and can't do it. You know,
Yeah.
like or pull a hamstring. Like when we were talking, I think I was talking to the person about, or somebody else about that with powerlifting or Olympic lifting. Well, I look at numbers when I did compete. Okay, 30 to 35, drug free. Their numbers are here. Well, I could hit those numbers. Oh man, I could qualify for that. So you do have a numbers, and that means, oh, Friday I just hit the best numbers that I saw on the sheet. I could go in win this meet, but that doesn't mean something doesn't. We don't know the outcome. Is what you're trying to say. I could miss it backwards on a snatch. I could blow a hamstring. I could blow it back on a deadlift if it's a powerlifting meet to an Olympic meet. Variables you're saying go in, and we don't know the outcome, but we go in going like you just said with the simplest thing is the Concord mountain bike race. I'm going to go in to win.
Yeah, absolutely. And I could win. My goal is to win, but it's also like
You could get a flat tire.
exactly. There's circumstances that go into play where it's just like it's funny because like I remember when Mr. Haslam came on with you and Chewy, and he started talking about like General Nealon's like maxims, and then like I guess one of the maxims was something that falls on the lines of like I forgot what it's like making the break. It's like when like things like circumstances happen, they're going in your favor, you take advantage of them. But there's also, you have to come to the realization that like there may be circumstances and variables that may not go into your favor. So like, if you want to talk about football, if I'm going and playing at Neyland Stadium and I'm an away team, there's variables and circumstances that are going to actually go against me to win in there. The crowd, the noise. They might be used to playing in the cold, and it might be a 25-degree weather game where it's like there's these variables that aren't for me. But I'm still going to go in and try to win that football game, even if it's against me. And I'm going to do everything in my power to win that game. But at the end of the day, can I ultimately control if I'm going to win or not? No. Like, I don't think there's anything definitive of being like, I'm going to win.
Right, just like the race last week with Hayden Deegan is I want to go 1-1 and he went 14.
Yeah, and he's the best, right?
He's the best.
He's the best right now.
Crashed 2 times.
And you don't
got
think
a thigh bruise.
his mindset is not any different than probably any other race.
No.
There were just circumstances and things, whether it's the track that he's on that may not fit best to him. That's the thing is like you look at like golfers at the PGA, it's just like the Masters. You look at Augusta National, it's just like that course is going to favor someone that has played it because it's about mastering that course. It's about the person that knows and understands that course and how it fits to their game. Everybody in that field is going to go out to try to win that game or to win that tournament. It's the epitome of the sport, but it's ultimately like there's going to be variables and things that aren't going to be in your favor, whether it's lack of experience, whether it's age, but you still, like you constantly talk about being that man in the arena. It's like you respect the person for being out there and doing everything in their power to do that, but also realize like you have to accept the fact that those things that you may not get the results that you want.
When you talked before on a podcast, I think it was a tennis player you quoted that it was like
Roger Federer.
every single shot that they like make, whether it's great or sucks, is like
1 point.
bam, like
Right.
that's out. Like
Right.
I did that.
Right. Or
I no longer need to cognate on that. I'm not going to dedicate any percentage of my like brain power to that. They're dedicated right then in the moment. And it's almost like this thing that you're talking about of like contracts is a technique to bring that kind of mentality intentionally into like everything that you can do where it's appropriate. And so it's like, here's what I want to happen. You let me know if you want to add anything to this or change it, and then I can accept that or not. And then once we're done, you know, after signing day or whatever, I'm no longer going to be able to dedicate any more like computation to this. You know what I mean? It's like we sign it and we're done. And that's it.
It's contract negotiations. It could work with everything in your life.
Or
You
like
have a
the Super
choice.
Bowl, like, you know, some people on a team, maybe their goal is the Super Bowl and they are 100% like able to like dedicate themselves to that. Maybe for one reason or another, someone's not. Well, that's a contract as a group, as a team. You're trying to strive for this thing. And it's like, obviously, I'm sure that wavers back and forth. Not everyone's at 100% all the time, but it's like, you have to have that buy-in and that mentality to achieve it. Like, I'm sure I keep going back to Formula One today, but like, you know, if you're
Well, I mean, it's
Haas
a
or
great
whatever,
example.
you don't think, okay, well, we're going to kick Lewis Hamilton's ass today, you know? But like, if you don't think that it's possible, then why are you even there driving the car, you know?
Because anything could happen without knowing the outcome. Lewis Hamilton
so-
could blow a tire. and
Well,
all the-
if
right.
you watch any of the Netflix documentaries on any of the F1 stuff, you see like all the best drivers in the world. Like it may not on a certain day or race, there are things and variables that they could not control on their vehicle that took them out of that race.
Yeah.
What you're saying, the tire, or they get hit, or something goes
Engine
into
blow,
place.
right.
It's just like
Yeah.
They always ask them this question, like, especially all the young people, they're like, what's your goal or whatever? And it's always, I want to be, you know, world champion.
Yeah.
They're never like, I'd love to like get up there a couple times and taste the champagne, you know?
well, it's like you have. Like, I think that's where people are like, I don't know.
Well, they're not gonna get the ride.
people that I admire the most are the ones that it doesn't go their way and they come back. Like, I mean, if you want to go back to the football analogy, like look at Patrick Mahomes. The first Super Bowl they ever played against, who's he going against? Tom Brady during COVID. He loses his first Super Bowl. Does he not do everything in his power to win to try to beat Tom Brady and the Patriots of the game? It's like, yeah, absolutely. But he fell short. But did he stop? No. He keeps going. He keeps fighting. He keeps going. And look at him now. Like 4 or 5 years later, and it's just like,
Wasn't that the sign of a character of a man or a person? Is like the Deegan, the 14th. I wanted to see how he interviewed after that. Like, hey, that's why they have 12 races. You know, it's motocross. It's racing. Shit happens in racing. We'll get next time. And I like to watch, as we say, the energy and the culture when the kid didn't finish first, how the whole team reacts under the rig, under the awning, you know, because I've been there, I've trained those guys, I've been there, watch, like, you want that kid to go, hey guys, we got it, like, we got this, like, good job doing the tires and stuff, I'll be in here cooling off, hydrate, we got this, let's go get it, instead of if he carries a sulk or puss on their face, as they said back in the 70s, then that whole team carries that because he's your superstar and his energy is compromising the whole awning if it's down and out instead of going, hey, we had a shitty race. We couldn't, my clutch blew, you know, the engine smoked. I had to slow down. I watched the race yesterday where Shimoda, his back brake went and he was running in first and he had to adjust to 4th place or 5th place without a back brake in Millville, Minnesota, where the drops are 500 feet downhill.
he's not lowering his expectations though.
No, he had to adjust with no back brake going all those stories down.
It's not
and
he's
then
going,
turning
oh,
and
back
going
brakes
up.
out. I guess I'm done. I'm just gonna
I
keep it
loved
in. I'm
his
not going back
character when he
out.
got interviewed. He's like, I just had to adapt and adjust. By the end of the race, the berms were built up a little bit more. I didn't have a back brake. I salvaged what I could out of this race to keep the points. And I'm like, that's a good character kid. You know, it's like, cool. He's not jamming the team. He's not, you know, what was me? He had an upbeat interview of this is racing. And I think that's what you were talking about is Shimoda didn't go into that. He was going into the race being second in points behind Deegan, Hayden Deegan. I could win this race because I just was winning the first moto, and I think I could win the second moto. I finished second or whatever in this first moto, right? So he's going into the second moto going, I could win this. And he passed Jeremy Martin to be in first place, and his back brake went. And he salvaged, but you would never know that the way he talked. Does that make sense? The way he interviewed, he
Yeah.
goes, this is racing. We have a long year. This happens. Does that make sense?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So this isn't. I guess this is a little bit off topic, but it's like, how do you differentiate between like what you're capable of and what someone else sees what you're capable of? Because like for me personally, people always are like, you should be doing this. This happened to me this last week. They're like, you should be doing this, and it should be done by this, and this. And I'm like, I know that's not congruent with, like, what's right within me and how I should be moving forward with it and my expectations in it. But then someone else is telling me that's not the right way.
Well, we talked about that probably, I think all three of us talked about this in the wood gym, definitely off mic and off camera, but we talked about when somebody goes, you should be doing it this way. Well, that's the way they should be doing it. So they're putting that on you of going, this is the way you should be doing it, instead of going, Ben's not going to do it my way. I could give him some options, but it's like, how would you do it? You know, and then he could come and tell me, I think I could do it this way. Then I could critique it a little and tweak it.
But it's different if someone's coming to you being like, hey, I'm doing this thing. Let's just say the combine, because I feel like that's a good metric to be able to, with measurables in a program, that you're like, they'll come to you being like, I've got to go to this event. And you go, all right, well, this is what you got to do in order, if you want to be part of my formula and what works and how I've created this thing, this is what you need to do it. That's black and white. That's
right.
I know
it's
what
a choice.
Yeah, I know what I'm signing up for.
Right.
But he's a trusted authority figure.
Yes.
Like someone else may, like a different trainer may tell that person with the same amount or more confidence, like what their regimen would be, and the person may listen and get screwed. Like you have to. That's another skill, and I think that's a contract kind of ish. I mean, it's not like outlined very specifically, but it's like you're entering a very distinct kind of relationship when someone is going to be a mentor. And I think you can learn different things from different people. Like, I don't take financial advice from the same person that I take, like, gourmet, like, cooking advice from, you know what I mean? Or maybe it is, like, I don't know, I'm not thinking of specific people, but it's like, everyone's good at different things. Like, you know, but I know a urologist who fell out of a tree trying to do tree trimming, you know, he's a smart guy, but he didn't know how to trim a tree.
Right.
You know?
and it would be the case, did you ask that guy, did you, again, codependency, did you go to that guy and go, hey, I want your opinion on this?
Well, this guy's the best. Like, well, we can use this example. He's been on the show. So Sam, Drago, like, you know, I do jiu-jitsu 3 to 4 times a week. He sees me and he's like, based off your physical attributes and where you are and how you're moving, you aren't fulfilling your potential, how good you could be at jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Like, you should be striving to go win a world championship at whatever belt you're at right now.
Right.
For me, I enjoy jiu-jitsu because it's my outlet. I like doing it because it's hard. It's something I can learn. But where I'm at in my life, I'm like, my focus is towards production and trying to build my business and trying to build the storytelling aspect of things. And for me, I have a really hard time because it's just like, he's looking out for my best interest. He's accredited. He's one of the best in the world at what he does. Sure. And he's telling me, hey, you aren't fulfilling your potential in all this, but it's also like, my goal in what I'm trying to set out in that is not to win a world championship. It's my exercise. It's my physical fitness. But it's like, how do I approach that from your end, being like, how do I need to approach that? Because it's like he's doing it out of love. He's telling me, like, out of sincerity, being like, but it's not like I'm going to him being like, I want to be a world champion. I want to do all this stuff. He's just like, with your physical build and what you're doing, you're essentially wasting what God's given you. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not wasting that's poor wording, but he sent me scripture, the tale of the 2 talents, where it's just like the person that buries it. And it's just like, I didn't even know what jiu-jitsu was 2 or 3 years ago. And it's just something I enjoy. And like, I want to be committed to it long term. I want to try to get my black belt, and I want to be able to teach and help people because I think I enjoy it. But it's also like, it's not like I'm going to sacrifice my entire life to go and do that. But it's also like, I don't know. I don't know how. I'm having a hard time personally how to sit back and process that and what he's offering me, because it's like, I don't think I'm settling.
Well, what is he? First of all, my codependency is in very good recovery.
Yeah.
Because I'm not willing to give you any information because I haven't heard you ask me a question yet for help. And that's what.
How do I decipher that from my end? If like how he's looking at me and how I should be approaching that is like, am I not doing enough? Am I settling?
I have an answer, but I'm waiting for you to ask me a question. You're still not, Ben. He's still not asking me a question.
I think he said like, how do I decipher
give
what
me a
he said to
cutthroat.
me?
Give me a Petrone black and white question. I already know the answer, but I'm not going to tell you until you ask me the right question.
Am I in the wrong?
You're not in the wrong at all, but you're never going to achieve ultimate greatness with any physical prowess. It's not in your DNA. It's just not. And what I mean by that is you could be in the NFL, you could be a world-class mountain biker, you could be a world-class bodybuilder with your muscle symmetry. You probably would have been a hell of a decathlete like Harrison Smith was in high school. I don't know what other sports. I mean, you name it, you could do it, but that's not your gig. I think your gig is too much of your head and your heart. I don't think it's going to be those things. And not that you could get by because you went to the Concord mountain bike race and won your division. Okay, but you didn't go, okay, Charlie, man, I'm really thirsty for that. I want to exceed my expectations and I want to do more with this. I want to take it to the national championship level. The Grift along that I've known since I changed diapers with him at Gold's Gym when I first started with his old man that was playing with the 49ers at the time. I've never seen him go with physical stuff of, I want to be the best in the world at a physical stuff. I think he is designed.
He excels at it, but that's not what fuels him. So
he could do anything.
Yeah. And that's what, I feel like I know myself well enough to where I'm like, I'm not going to commit and say I'm going to do these things because you see that, because it's not internally in me. And I'm like, am I wrong for being attuned to that, or am I lying to myself?
I think I would take it as a compliment. Like, so I didn't want to answer before Charlie did.
Yeah.
But like,
well, I hope I didn't.
No,
Incorrectly.
No, you were never doing anything correctly. That's the thing. It's like, if this podcast is doing well, it's being shot straight forward. So if you're like,
well, that's what Brian White was saying. Is like those guys are in their 20s. They have to listen to the guy at 56.
That's what I'm saying. It's not like, oh, I have the answer. I don't have the answer. This is be like me coming to you at the gym being like, I don't know how. I literally texted him back and I was like, let me sit on it because I don't know how to approach
What does he
that.
want you to do? Be world champion?
He wants you to try to be a world champion.
No shot.
Yeah.
No shot.
That's why I told him.
I could tell him that.
Well, I told him as like the biggest thing I've always had to fight is like people seeing me physically, and they go, oh, he could do this, this, and this, and this, and it's just like
no shot. Ben, he has no shot. Like the guy has. He's good in too many things. That's what makes
that's
it no
what I was
shot.
gonna say. It's like to me, it's like it's a compliment, and it sounds like
And it's a curse.
In the context of this conversation. So like Sam is almost that's like a bid for an agreement of like, if you do the things that I'm telling you to do, I'm telling you are capable of doing this, and you just
And
I
he's
mean you
also
said it right there by
capable of-
asking us. It's like you would know if you wanted to do that. You know what I mean? You wouldn't have to ask me or ask Carly.
Yeah, but could Sam be a world-class Olympic lifter, power lifter, bodybuilder, mountain biker, football player, maybe basketball decathlete? No. I've seen Sam.
That doesn't mean that he can't see that for him.
But it's like is there?
I think you know Griff better.
Is there something wrong with me?
No. I wouldn't say it.
Let's get real. I mean, I think it's cool. It's like
I don't think anything's wrong with you. I just don't think. I think it's.
You don't like how that would change your relationship with jiu-jitsu and your practice of it. That's not why you do it.
well, it's like you're mountain biking. It's like
Right.
you're not gonna go be a world champion mountain biker.
I mean, maybe-
you go to the woods to get a release. And like,
Right.
It's like
and I ride the same bike I had
Yeah.
since 1999. Now, if I went, we could do this. Like we could all do this and go, okay, let's look at 57. I'll be 57 August 10th.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at 57-year-old guys that are in the Clydesdale division, 205 pounds and over. Let's see what they're,
I like that name.
yeah, Clydesdale.
Yeah.
Fat guys. If I hosted a race, it'd be the fat guys. But okay, let's look at their times and let's look at okay, I want to go after that because that's important to me. I think it's all about what is important to you, and that's where I think you excel. in my opinion. And with Sam,
because he's doing it out of love. Like it's out of complete love. It's like
you have no shot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, and I don't mean that a bad way. It's just he doesn't know you like I know you because he only knows world champions.
But do you think I'm dishonoring God by not trying to strive for that?
No, because
No.
there's not enough time in one lifetime to fulfill all the things that you could do.
But it's like I know inside of me, like, and maybe this is wrong for me to say, but it's like
You have to choose. You have to make a choice.
It's not something that like
You have to make a choice.
It's not. Yeah, you have to make a choice, but it's not planted in within me to go do that. And so it's like I'm not going to go and tell somebody, "Oh yeah, let's do it. I'm in it," just to appease them. Where I'm like, if it was lit up in me and like I was fueled to do it, and it was like, I'd be like, yeah, let's do it.
Okay, but we talk about making an impact on others, changing the world in our own little ways. Is it with jiu-jitsu, or did somebody stop me today and go, that Griffin, that podcast about Asheville really hit home with me. That kid's amazing.
That's where I'm like, I would give anything and everything to be able to tell people stories.
So there you go. You didn't have to ask me or Charlie if that was what you wanted.
That's what you need to
But
tell.
it's- but
That's
it's-
what you need to tell Sam.
But it's also, it's like, it's hard because it's like when he sees me like physically, knowing my genetics, knowing my background, him seeing what I can do at that level, it's just like, I mean, I would do the same thing if I was in a situation and I saw someone and be like, yeah, just like, I think it's hard for me to be able to, like, I'm congruent and I'm convicted about like who I am, but it's like,
He's had to shift his love of doing that to being able to share that love with other people.
Yeah.
So when he
and
finds
it's
someone
his job
like
and
you,
responsibility if he sees stuff in somebody to tell him, right?
Right. So he only does one thing. He was world champion, 12-time, 13 world champion. He's in jiu-jitsu. So all he does is train jiu-jitsu people because he was a world champion.
Because he's the best.
The best at being a jiu-jitsu. That's the opposite of me. Your goals become my goals, whatever that is. If you want to be the best artist in the world, I'm going to try to help you make the best artist in the world. Well, he's like, it's a pigeonhole of jiu-jitsu. Does that make sense?
But it's like you're talking about coming from the like the person that's cutting your trees or doing that stuff. It's coming from an authority figure that like he knows what he's talking about.
Of course. He sees
Yeah,
greatness in
yeah.
you, but you're never going to be great at it.
I guess for me, when he said that, it's like, how do I approach that and go back to him being like, man, I know you love me and you're caring for me and you're looking what's best
He
for me.
needs the shift. But again, what I'm trying to say is he himself is a 12 or 13-time world champion.
I
He
think
can't
he's
shift.
telling Griff, and I mean, I don't know enough about it, but this is the way I'm going to frame it. He knows that Griff could do that. And you're saying because you have more information and because you're not specifically just a trainer of that one thing,
Right, no
you're
shot.
saying, no, I know you don't have a shot because I know you would never choose that for yourself. It's not that he couldn't do it.
I know Griff. I know Griff better than Sam does.
It's that he's never going to.
No.
But
Never.
it's his responsibility to communicate to that because he wouldn't be doing his job.
No, well, yes, because
Yeah.
I mean, that
He
would be such
probably-
a cool opportunity. He wants to be the trainer of another world champion.
Right. He
And you
wants to
could
coach
do
another-
that, is my guess.
And he's
But
probably going to back off you after you say, hey, I have no desire to do that. Because he is a world champion himself or former world champion, whatever. He wants to coach another world champion.
I think it's also
yeah,
like
if you
going back
just
to what you're
explain
saying.
to him
Yeah.
like no, your actual like love of what you are gonna do, and be like, "Thank you for showing me this world of jujitsu, but it's not that to me." Like, That's all it
It's the
is.
same if I'm ripping the woods. Like I'm ripping the woods today, and somebody's been watching me go in and out the last couple weeks, and they're timing my laps. They're in the woods, and they come out and go, "Hey, dude, man, for your age, you could be world champion mountain bike rider." And it'd be like, "Cool. What do I got to do that?" "Well, you got to put so many hours into it and do this and do this." I'm like, I actually don't use it that way.
That's what it's like. Goes back to like earlier in the podcast. You're like that individual is coming to you who they are, and then they don't get the answer that they want back, and then they come back and be like, "Oh, that's not me."
Because he's not asking you one question. What do you want to do with it?
He's just telling me. He's like, "Hey, I see this in you and what
This-
you're capable of."
But that's what he sees.
Yeah.
That's not what you see. And you're like, that's where it's misconnected
And
with
like you have to live with your true authentic self of like who is Griffin DeLong.
live your truth.
Yeah.
Live your truth.
I mean, so yeah, I would put it this way. Like, if you have a bunch of spare time in your life that you could be doing jujitsu and you just aren't, and you're not doing anything else with it, then maybe he has a point. But if you're like at maximum bandwidth, maximum capacity on all your stuff that you're interested in,
Well, that's where like I realize I'm a realist on things, being like,
You're sitting here doing a podcast for 3 hours on a Sunday. The champion is on the mats.
yeah,
You know,
I'd be
like,
on the mats right now.
You'd be on the mats right now, and you have a full-time job, and you have 6 other gigs and hustles. Your goal, which I think is beautiful, you listen to a podcast with Joe Rogan. My ultimate goal, Sam, is to shoot documentaries and tell people stories because I'm really, really good at it. Okay, and it comes supernatural, and it's my real passion. Just because somebody's really good in something, people think that should be your passion. And that's not the case at all.
Yeah.
And we talked about that. I've talked with my kids about it, about like your passion doesn't have to be something that you wait on and go, I got to find my passion. You could be really good at something and make a living doing it. And your passion could be like, I'm not making a living, but that's my passion. I know tons of doctors that are in
I was just gonna say,
bands
yeah.
and play saxes and drums and guitars.
That's a great example.
It's
Yeah.
awesome. That's an exact example. where
And they're
it's just
like, I had to be a doctor because I wasn't going to be Kenny G. You know, I had to be a doctor because I wasn't going to be
Or
Led
maybe
Zeppelin.
they could have been, but they just, for whatever reason, that,
it's a choice.
you know, again, that choice in that set of choices limited other choices a lot more than if they went to medical school.
Okay, here's a choice. Okay, my man Freddie Smith, and hopefully Freddie, you listen to this one because it was kudos to you. I've been bragging on this sumbitch for about 3 weeks or 4 weeks whenever he invited me over Friday night with Dr. James Chu, who started the podcast with me in 2018. I've known Freddie since he was in high school in the early 90s. Okay, so we have a brotherhood. He asked me over to his house. I don't go out much. I don't do a lot to anybody. And a couple of my clients in the gym were like, oh, he wouldn't go. And I'm like, I want to go. I'm going to go because they say I wouldn't go. It was one of the best times I had for 2.5 hours. And I knew something about Freddie Smith that I never knew before. The damn guy could cook and make a mixed drink like nobody's business. And we've been drinking it since then. I was so impressed in watching him and the joy he was doing cooking this meal for me and Dr. James Chu. And Chewy turned to me, Chewy is Dr. James Chu, and said, you know, Freddie was close to going to culinary school. And he was like, oh, that's my real passion.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, what happened? He goes, I didn't want to work weekends and long nights. And I think the insurance business, you know, worked out pretty good for me. And he's uber successful, and I'm so proud of him. But I was like, wow, that was his passion. I watched how he cooked this simple meal, use the word simple, and it was one of the best meals I ever had, and we had so much fun and camaraderie in my eyes. And I was so proud of him watching him do something that he enjoyed. Of course, he's world-class mountain biker, and all the things on 2 wheels that he does is amazing. But just going, that was his passion, but it wasn't going to make me the best money.
I think, honestly, I'm going to also compliment you. I'm going to compound off of Sam's. I'm going to characterize it as a compliment and say, for you to think about it this deeply shows a curiosity and like a love for Sam and like a openness of like you're able to take that and really think about it and give it a lot of thought, and you're like gonna go back with an answer. All these people are gonna always be, everyone in your life is gonna be asking something of you at some point, and it's not good or bad, but it's like, I think that's what Charlie's talking about, is if you put this framework of a contract to it, I think you did a lot of honor to yourself and to Sam to like think about it to the level that you did and consider it and be like introspective and be like, dang, am I messing up?
Well, it's hard because it's like I have to look at myself and be like, maybe I'm not honoring that and telling the truth. And it's just like, I think that's like we talk about, it's like you oftentimes have to like go to that community and those people that you trust that are going to give you that hard truth, being like, am I wrong? And it's like,
right. So here's the deal, Sweet Pea, that you're not seeing. You're 29, correct?
Yeah.
All right. You just bought a house. Congratulations. Now you have a mortgage.
Yeah.
So you're going to give all this up to be world champion? No shot. I keep going back to no shot. It's like now you have stake in the game. You know, you're in the game of life.
But instead
now.
of being like, yeah, let's jump into that, and then like giving it up 6 months in or whatever, was
what was Sam,
wise enough to take a step back and be like,
I know what I'm willing.
yeah, I'm not willing to do that.
Well, Sam didn't start being a world champion at 29.
I think he started training at probably 15 or 16 years old.
Right. So he was probably winning world titles in his 20s with no accountability, no bills or whatever. You're in the game of life now. So the ship has sailed. So it's so beautiful to go, man, I appreciate that, man. That's it. I mean, I would hold it as an honor that this 13-time world champion came to you.
Oh, absolutely.
You have what it takes.
It's just something for me. It's like, I didn't even really want to talk about it tonight, but it's just like, I think it kind of lined up with what we were speaking about.
Choices
like,
and
it's hard.
options.
It's hard. It's like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to let anybody down.
It wasn't an ultimatum. It wasn't, hey, don't train here anymore if you don't want to be a world champion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That is true.
Right. So the boundaries and ultimatums are different than choices and options. And I want to make sure you guys understand that, of the difference, you know, because we were going back and forth, Ben, of like the choices to the boundaries and the ultimatums. The ultimatums of like, hey, you don't do this, we're out of this.
Yeah.
But man, I really want you to do this and this and this. But I want to be with you, but you got to do these things.
But it's like also going back to being like, maybe if like you do feel unsure about how to proceed and continue with it, it's just like, I actually need to go check with people that I feel like love me and trust me and are going to shoot me straight, that go, hey, you're in the wrong on this. Or, hey, it's like, that's not congruent with who you are. And I think like, for me, like, I don't know, that's something that's like, I don't know, it's hard to like, it's hard to ask that. It's very vulnerable to ask that. It's,
But to be a world champion in anything,
takes everything.
You have to give everything up. Are you willing to give it all up?
Well, and that's why
And
like,
if
I
you
know
were-
I know what I have had, like with doing this production stuff. It's like I have had to do that, and I was willing to do that. Like,
But you weren't even willing to do it for the easiest things, like in football,
No.
when you had no bills and
No.
everything. So at 18, 19, you didn't go off and play at Michigan, Notre Dame, or University of Tennessee. You're like, no, that wasn't what I wanted to do. While yesterday we were talking, somebody was like, Griffin DeLong was the best middle school football player I've ever seen in Knoxville.
That doesn't mean he has to play. Yeah, I mean, I think.
And he didn't. And he's
Yeah.
got to wrestle with that. Like, I know the kid's wrestling with that because he was the best at, I was never the best at anything.
Yeah.
It gets you off the hook when you're not, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I wasn't.
It's a choice.
That's funny.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
I mean, did we get what we were trying to get? Did we figure it out?
I think there's more. I think people are going to come back and be like, what the hell are you all talking about?
Yeah, I
for
feel
an
like I
hour?"
was all over the place. I mean, I was throwing out generals and crap, and I started being like,
I mean,
oh, man.
that says something.
But I think
because
we
we're-
addressed one from the last time.
Okay.
You know, I think we got closer to what you were wanting originally to talk about. But I think we defined it and we said what, the strengths are. But I think, I don't know. I mean,
So
you tell
yours,
me.
okay, I don't know. So Griff is saying you make better decisions being inebriated and completely.
No,
hammered.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. You guys are providing examples, and then what I was saying is just like, we started talking about war, and then like with soldiers, and I'm like, some of the greatest, arguably the greatest generals that people say from a military aspect is like in existence, they all had these incredible vices during times of the greatest decision making that they had to do. So it's just like Winston Churchill with like Dunkirk, and then like Battle of London, how to do that. It's like he was probably inebriated during the majority of all that, and it's just like, I don't know, maybe there's not an association with that, but that's the first thing that came to my mind, that you're talking about not being healthy and not being where you need to be physically and making decision making. And I started thinking
Sometimes that doesn't excuse you. Like,
Yeah.
a choice still has to be made.
Yeah,
whether
exactly.
You're ready or
Exactly.
not. Yeah.
and like, I don't know, that's the reason I just started thinking about that, and I was like, well, that's running through my mind with like USC's Grant or Winston Churchill. or
That's
any of
part
these
of our
people.
part two. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's tough for me. Our society has times when you do take that choice away. Like, whether that person's in prison or you take your friend's keys away so they're not driving. But
Yeah. That's where I was like, oh, maybe it is more circumstantial, but I don't know. That's the thing is, it's like, I think it's cool. It's like, I'm asking Charlie because I don't know. It's not like I'm like, oh, I'm bringing it up because I'm like, I want your advice because I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You're never going to be world champion.
All right, let's do another one.
There's another one, another Outback. Thanks, guys. Ben, Griff, my producers, directors, videographers. I like to thank them all. Listen to the circadian rhythms out there. Aren't they nice?
Boom.